Far beyond the stars, on a bright world called Velara, the royal palace shone like silver glass under twin suns. Towers of crystal stretched toward the sky, and winged guards glided through the air on shimmering energy wings. Inside those towers lived Princess Lyran, youngest daughter of the Velari Queen Mireth. Lyran was unlike her sisters. While others studied politics and war, she spent long hours in the quiet library, surrounded by old tablets and glowing archives that told stories of humans, the ancient visitors from a blue planet called Earth. To most Velari, those stories were strange myths. To Lyran, they felt alive. She imagined how those humans looked, how they spoke, how they built their cities with hands instead of energy wings. Her fascination became an obsession. Every evening when moonlight painted her chamber, she replayed old recordings, humans speaking of courage, laughter, and kindness. Their language sounded rough yet warm, their eyes full of emotion. Something deep inside her stirred each time she heard them. Her mother noticed. "Lyran," Queen Mireth said one morning, her tone sharp yet calm. "You waste time on ghosts. The Velari Empire does not dwell on lost species." Lyran bowed respectfully but replied softly, "Perhaps they are not lost, Mother. Perhaps they still live." The Queen's expression hardened. "Even if they do, they are beneath us. We evolved beyond flesh. You will remember that." But Lyran couldn't forget. She felt there was something unfinished about the human story, as if a missing piece of her heart was hidden within it. The arrival one bright day, word spread through the palace, a delegation from a distant system had arrived. For the first time in centuries, humans had come to Velara. The entire court buzzed with curiosity and fear. Some nobles whispered that humans were dangerous. Others called them primitive. Lyran's heart raced. She pressed her palms together to hide her excitement. The grand hall filled with light as the visitors entered. 5 humans in sleek, dark uniforms, each bearing the crest of the Terran Union. At their front stood Captain Daniel Reeves, tall and steady with a scar across one eyebrow and eyes the color of storm clouds. He didn't bow deeply like other envoys. He only inclined his head, calm and proud. His voice, when he spoke, was firm but respectful. "Your Majesty," he said, "on behalf of the Terran Union, I thank you for welcoming us. We come in peace and hope for friendship." The Queen studied him as if he were a curiosity. "Peace," she repeated. "We shall see if humans understand that word." Lyran watched silently beside her mother. Every movement of the human captain fascinated her. How he stood straight even when many eyes judged him, how he measured his words, how his emotions flickered just behind his calm mask. She had read about human courage, but now she saw it, not in battle, but in his quiet dignity. That night she couldn't sleep. The image of Daniel standing before her mother replayed again and again in her mind. She wondered what his world smelled like, what his people dreamed of, what it felt like to live without wings and still reach the stars. Following the human over the next few days, Lyran found excuses to appear near the human delegation. Sometimes she pretended to inspect the gardens. Sometimes she simply happened to pass the research chambers where Daniel met Velari scholars. She stayed hidden behind tall crystal pillars, watching him ask thoughtful questions about their energy systems and history. Unlike other aliens, he didn't mock what he didn't understand. He listened. Her maid Ari noticed. "Princess," she whispered, "you have been following that human officer." "It is not proper." Lyran smiled faintly. "I study him as he studies us. Curiosity is no crime." Ari sighed. Curiosity from a princess often becomes rumor. Rumors indeed began to grow. Courtiers whispered that the youngest princess had fallen for a human. The Queen heard those whispers and frowned. "Keep your distance from him," she warned. Humans are unpredictable. They charm before they destroy. But Lyran's heart didn't listen. One evening, she found Daniel alone in the royal garden, standing near a fountain of light water. He was staring at the night sky, the same stars that once shone over Earth. She hesitated, then stepped forward. "You look troubled," she said softly. He turned. For a moment, surprise flashed across his face, then a calm smile. "Just thinking how small we are," he replied. "Your stars look different, yet somehow familiar." Lyran tilted her head. "Maybe they remember you. Stars never forget who first looked at them." Daniel chuckled quietly. "That's a beautiful thought, Princess." They spoke for hours, about Earth's oceans, Velara's twin suns, the loneliness of space travel, and the meaning of duty. Lyran found herself laughing like she hadn't in years. Daniel listened without judgment. His words were gentle but full of strength. When she asked why humans still sought alliances instead of conquest, he said, "Because strength means nothing if you stand alone." Those words stayed with her long after he left. The attack. 3 nights later, the palace held a grand peace gala. Music filled the air, and the queen sat on her throne surrounded by ministers and guards. Lyran stood beside her, trying not to look at Daniel among the guests. He caught her glance once, and a silent warmth passed between them. Suddenly, the light crystals flickered. The music stopped. A small drone darted through the air, armed, fast, and deadly. In seconds, it aimed directly at the royal dais. There was no time to react. A blinding flash erupted. But before the bolt could strike the princess, Daniel lunged forward, shielding her with his body. The energy blast struck his armor and sent both crashing to the floor. Gasps filled the hall. Guards drew weapons. Smoke clouded the air. Daniel groaned, pain etched across his face, but he stood, pushing Lyran behind him. "Stay down," he ordered. With one quick motion, he pulled a compact device from his belt, aimed and fired, destroying the rogue drone in a burst of sparks. Silence followed. Then murmurs spread through the crowd. A human had saved the princess. Lyran's heart pounded. She knelt beside him, her hands trembling. "You are hurt," he shook his head. Armor absorbed most of it. Just a burn. Her wings shimmered faintly as she whispered, "You could have died." Daniel smiled weakly. "Better me than a princess." When guards tried to escort him away for medical care, Lyran followed. The queen called out, but Lyran didn't stop. The aftermath later, in the quiet of the infirmary, Daniel rested on a silver bed as Velari healers tended his wound. Lyran stood nearby, ignoring the disapproving looks of the staff. "You are reckless," she told him softly. He glanced at her. "Maybe, but where I come from, we protect those under our care. I was not under your care. I was in your hall. That made it my duty." His simple words broke something inside her, the wall she had built between herself and emotion. For the first time, she realized that the humanity she admired wasn't just history. It was alive, breathing in front of her. When Daniel tried to sit up, she placed a hand on his shoulder. "Rest," she said. "You saved me. Let me return the favor." He smiled. "You don't owe me anything. Perhaps not. But I wish to." That night, she stayed by his side until dawn, pretending to read reports while secretly watching him sleep. His face looked peaceful, almost childlike. She wondered how a being of such strength could also hold such gentleness. Whispers of fear by morning. The palace buzzed with rumors again. Some nobles called Daniel a hero. Others claimed the attack was staged by humans to gain favor. The queen ordered an investigation and confined the human delegation to their quarters for safety. Lyran argued, but her mother silenced her. "Enough," the queen said. "You endanger yourself for curiosity. This human has clouded your reason. You will see him no more." Lyran clenched her fists. "He saved my life. That deserves gratitude, not suspicion. Gratitude can turn to weakness, and weakness destroys empires." That night, Lyran disobeyed. She sneaked into the restricted wing where the humans were held. Daniel sat by the window staring at the alien skyline. When he saw her, he rose instantly. "You shouldn't be here," he whispered. "Neither should you be a prisoner after saving a life," she replied. He sighed. "Politics move faster than truth." "Then I will move faster than politics," she said with quiet fire. "I will speak for you." Daniel shook his head. "If you defend me, they'll turn against you." She smiled sadly. "They already have." For a moment, silence filled the room. The hum of distant energy generators was the only sound. Daniel finally said, "Why risk so much for me?" Lyran hesitated, her voice barely above a whisper. "Because I think I finally understand what it means to be human." The secret truth in. The following days, while the queen prepared to dismiss the human delegation entirely, Lyran sought answers. She sneaked into the royal archives, a forbidden place filled with ancient memory crystals. There, hidden deep within dusty records, she discovered something shocking. Genetic studies showing that Velari DNA shared fragments identical to ancient human sequences. Her pulse quickened. Could it be that the Velari had once been human? Descendants who changed over millennia on this new world? It would explain her fascination, her sense of recognition. She copied the data to her wrist crystal, intending to show Daniel. But before she could, she overheard voices in the next chamber, her mother and the royal advisor. "Remove the human captain quietly," the queen ordered coldly. "His influence grows dangerous. Shall we accuse him of treachery?" the advisor asked. "No, an accident will suffice." Lyran's breath froze. "They plan." Days passed since the human ship left Velara. Princess Lyran felt emptier than she ever had before. Every corridor, every hall of shining crystal reminded her of Captain Daniel Reeves. The calm eyes, the honest words, the way he had stood against danger without hesitation. She wore the small metal insignia he had given her on a chain under her robe. When she touched it, she felt courage growing inside her heart. But courage alone was not enough. She had a promise to keep, find the truth. And so every night when the palace slept, she returned to the ancient archives, the hidden records. The archives were buried deep beneath the palace, a maze of glowing chambers that held memories from ages long before the royal bloodline began. The air was cool and dry, filled with the faint hum of old machines still alive after thousands of years. Lyran placed her hand on a scanner. Pale blue light swept across her face. "Access granted, Royal Heir Lyran Mirith," the system said in a cold mechanical tone. She whispered, "Show me the genetic records of Velari origin." A beam of light projected charts and sequences before her. Strange letters and numbers danced in the air, fragments of DNA from different species. She compared them to the human data she had secretly copied from Daniel's communicator before he left. At first, she saw only meaningless codes. Then something clicked. The patterns matched. The same sequences repeated again and again. Her voice trembled. "We share the same roots." It was unbelievable. Velarian humans were not two separate species. They were one family divided by time and evolution. Long ago, a human colony had settled Velara, their bodies slowly changing to adapt to the planet's stronger radiation and thin air. The wings that now defined Velari royalty were not divine gifts. They were genetic adaptations from human survivors. The truth was not shameful. It was beautiful. Lyran covered her mouth, tears shining in her eyes. "All this time we thought we were greater," she whispered. "But we are just the same." But her joy was short-lived. A voice echoed behind her. "You should not be here, Princess." She turned sharply. Her mother's chief advisor, Lord Terran, stood in the doorway, eyes narrow. "The Queen ordered these records sealed centuries ago," he said coldly. "Curiosity has made you careless." Lyran's pulse quickened. "You knew?" Terran's expression didn't change. "All royal lines know the truth. But the Queen believes the myth is safer. If the people learn they descend from humans, the empire will crumble." "That is not truth," she said. "That is fear." He stepped closer. "Truth can destroy nations faster than lies. I would rather rebuild a nation on honesty than rule one built on pride." Terran's eyes darkened. "You sound like the human. Perhaps your mother was right to fear his influence." Before he could act, Lyran used her wing energy to leap backward, pressing a command on her wrist crystal. The data copied itself instantly. "If you try to stop me," she said firmly, "the truth will still spread." For a moment, the old man hesitated, then stepped aside. "You play with forces you cannot control, Princess." "I will take that risk," she answered, and walked out. A message from the stars the following morning as dawn light filled her chamber. Lyran received a secret signal on her wrist device, a Terran Union frequency. Her heart raced. She activated it, and a faint holographic image of Captain Daniel Reeves appeared. "Princess," he said quietly, his image flickering, "I hope this message reaches you. Our ship was attacked by raiders while leaving your system. We survived, but communications are unstable. If you can, send coordinates to a safe channel." Lyran's throat tightened. "Daniel, you're alive," he smiled faintly. "Barely. I heard rumors that your queen canceled the treaty. Is it true?" "She believes humans are dangerous," Lyran replied. "But she doesn't know what I've found." Daniel frowned. "What do you mean?" "I've uncovered the truth of our species. Veleri are not aliens to you. We are your descendants." Silence filled the transmission. Then Daniel exhaled slowly. "That explains everything. The genetic readings, the language similarities, even your emotions. Princess, this changes everything. Yes, she said, but the Queen will never allow it to be known. She would rather destroy proof than face shame. Then you must show the people before she can stop you, Daniel urged. Let them decide what to believe. Lyran nodded. Will you come back? If you need me, he said, I will return. The signal cut off, leaving her heart heavy with both hope and fear. The Queen's decision. That evening, the Queen summoned her daughter. The royal throne room glowed crimson as sunset passed through stained crystals. Soldiers lined the walls, their wings folded tight. Lyran Mireth, the Queen said, her voice echoing. I hear you have been wandering the archives again. Lyran stood tall. Yes, Mother. And I found something that you hid from everyone. The Queen's eyes narrowed. You think knowledge makes you wise? It makes me truthful, Lyran answered. You knew we came from humans. You hid it. Gasps spread through the chamber. Ministers exchanged uneasy looks. The Queen rose slowly, her wings casting long shadows. You dare accuse your own blood? Lyran's voice shook but did not falter. I don't accuse, I reveal. The evidence is clear. We are not pure creations of Velara's gods. We are children of Earth. The Queen descended the steps, stopping inches away from her. You endanger everything we built. The people need pride, not confusion. They need truth, Lyran said softly. Pride without truth is just illusion. For a moment, mother and daughter stared at each other. Two queens of different worlds separated by belief. The Queen finally spoke, cold and sharp. You will stay confined to your chambers until this madness passes. And the data you found will be erased. She turned to the guards. Take her. But Lyran moved faster. Her wrist crystal flashed and the room's main display lit up, projecting the very DNA sequences she had uncovered. The walls glowed with the intertwined symbols of Velaryan human genetics, overlapping perfectly. This is who we are, she cried. Look! No lie, no myth, only proof. The hall erupted in chaos. Ministers shouted. Guards hesitated. Some fell to their knees, whispering prayers. Others stared in awe. The Queen's voice thundered, Shut it down! Yet before anyone could move, a deep vibration shook the palace. The sky outside turned blue-white. A massive Terran Union ship entered orbit. The return of the human moments later. The main screen lit with a transmission. Captain Daniel Reeves appeared, his uniform torn, his voice firm. This is Captain Reeves of the Terran Union, he announced. We come not to fight but to witness truth. The data your princess sent us matches our own history. Velari are human, evolved, not alien. The Queen's expression faltered for the first time. Daniel continued. Your Majesty, I risked everything to come back because lies cannot hold forever. Let your people see what unites us, not what divides us. Lyran felt tears rise.
He came back, she whispered. The Queen raised her hand to cut the signal, but the council elders stopped her.
Your Majesty, one said softly, if this is true, we cannot hide it. Our children deserve to know who they are. The Queen looked around, her rule was slipping like sand. For the first time, uncertainty filled her eyes. The Hall of Crystals, the next day, an emergency assembly gathered in the Hall of Crystals, the oldest and most sacred chamber on Velara. Thousands attended, nobles, soldiers, scholars, and civilians. Floating drones broadcast the event across the Empire. Lyran stood at the center, Daniel beside her, wearing a borrowed Velari cloak. She spoke clearly, her voice echoing through the vast chamber. For ages we believed ourselves superior. But strength is not born from denying our past. It grows from accepting it. Humans are not our enemies. They are our reflection. Gasps and murmurs spread. Daniel stepped forward. Humanity left Earth to survive. Some reached Velara and adapted. You are the proof that we endured. We may look different now, but our hearts are the same. Then he pressed a button, projecting a hologram of ancient human recordings, messages from settlers long ago. Voices filled the hall. We will build again. We will live among the stars. The crowd fell silent. Even the Queen bowed her head. One child whispered, So we are all human? Lyran smiled gently. Yes, and that means we can never call each other strangers again. A slow, steady applause began. Then louder. Then thunderous. The Queen rose from her throne, her eyes glistening with tears she had hidden for years. Perhaps, she said quietly, it was pride that blinded us. I only wanted to protect our people. Lyran stepped to her, taking her hand. Then protect them with truth, not lies. The Queen nodded. So be it. Let this day mark the reunion of two worlds. New dawn days later, the skies over Velara were alive with celebration. Human and Velari ships hovered side by side. Flags of both empires fluttered together, one blue, one silver bound by a golden ring. In the courtyard, Daniel watched Velari children play beside human engineers, both laughing despite the language barrier. "Never thought I'd see this," he said softly. Lyran stood beside him, her crystal wings catching sunlight. "Neither did I, but hope is stronger than fear," he smiled. "You kept your promise." She looked at him, eyes shining. "And you kept yours. You came back." Daniel extended a small metallic object, a new insignia forged from both earth metal and Velari crystal. "For you," he said. "Two worlds, one truth." Lyran accepted it, her voice trembling. "Then our story begins, not ends."